So, I'm kind of used to all this, and it's
Oh,
always
what's
like, oh,
this? It's a new article. Breaking news today. Oh, uh, company that makes soy burgers found to have been using human meat the whole entire time for 3 decades. You
oh
find
my
out you were a
gosh.
meat eater cannibal
I,
for like 3 decades.
cleanse me, Father, cleanse me. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Like sometimes it does give me pause though. I'm like,
What about the lady that came on our show and thought she was cooking up some turkey tails and it was a human penis?
I wonder whatever happened to that lady. She was
uh,
fun. That was so
she
funny.
said she was going to save the pot. I'm thinking, fuck that. I would. Oh, she's like, oh, I have it soaking in bleach or something. I'm
Oh
like, oh,
yeah.
hell no. I'd just throw that away.
Oh. I wonder if she ever got not the word diagnosis, what am I saying? I wonder if she ever got the report back from what it was, because remember they claimed in the newspaper that it wasn't pork tails or no, they
Oh,
said it was,
yeah, right.
but she
I
said
think that
that
she
was a
said they
lie.
hid the report from her or something.
Yeah, like the newspaper reported that it was in fact it wasn't turkey tails, it was pigtails instead or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, forgot the report back.
Crazy, huh?
So maybe they are covering up a Soylent
Weird.
Green conspiracy.
Mm,
I
that's
don't know.
sick.
Maybe I'll just eat anything that's green, not Soylent Green, just green right out of the ground. I'll be like what do they call them, a raw vegan. That's really probably a really good diet for you too, but it takes a lot of discipline and meal planning and that kind of stuff.
I've now hooked sensors up to vegetables and they can tell us what the vegetables are saying
That they have
right
feelings.
as they're being juiced.
Oh, damn it! I'll just die an anorexic.
Don't juice me, don't juice me now.
My son, the annoying orange. Did you ever see the annoying orange?
No.
Okay, well, it was this, I don't know, trendy thing. It's like an orange that has a face on it, and he always used to have these like, I don't know, whoever made it made these like little scenes with like, like his banana friend getting chopped up, and I was watching it on YouTube, and I think my son, he was only like maybe like 5 years old or something, and he was sitting next to me, and of course he just like leans over and starts looking, and he got so freaked out by it, he cried. Like he really thought like the banana had feelings and it
Oh wow.
traumatized him for life.
No
Look at the
way.
annoying orange. It's kind of funny.
I've never heard of that. Hmm. It's like
And
it sounds like Curious George or something. The annoying orange.
the annoying orange, yeah. But he would, it'd be an orange, but it would have like an eye, eyes and a mouth, like, and it would talk and, you know, they'd make it look alive.
Dang. I wonder if fruit really does talk like that. I bet it does. Probably has mouth and everything.
I'm just going to starve myself. That's it. I'm not eating anything ever again.
What about a Venus flytrap?
Oh, that's pretty
Those
crazy.
are weird.
Actually, my new son is saying about it.
All right, we'll see you Monday.
Hello, Shepard Ambellis here. Don't forget to get my new film, Shackled to Silence, now available on DVD video and on demand.
You can't fake it. You can fake words. You can fake anything coming out of your head. Your head can fool you. But your heart is pure intent. And that is what our Creator understands, the frequency. Because you can't fake that. And His first creation speaks that language. And we used to.
I just figured, all right, there's a pandemic going on. Let me go over to the hospital and see what's going on there. And I figured there'd be ambulances coming in and out and people going crazy and crying in the lobby and waiting outside. And it was like dead.
So, in fact, the hospitals were so dead that the nurses and doctors were going around. They were doing these special dances on that TikTok app from China. You know, where did they find the time for this? That's what we have to wonder.
The story about COVID is so complex.
What's interesting, the Hopkins guys, they first started their analysis based on news reports.
I mean, you broke probably the biggest aspect of the story that most of the public is not aware of, right? So the story, the narrative, you know, the narrative story about coronavirus is, you know, the public story. And then it turns out that there's two or more other stories behind the curtain, so to speak.
Get Shackled to Silence today. Now available on demand and on DVD video. Go to www.shackledtosilence.film.
The 2020 pandemic took most of us off guard. Our world changed. Jobs, schools, families' lives were turned upside down. Were you prepared? We're not talking about the end of the world prepping, but feeling more secure, safe, and in control of what you can control. Persurvive.com has practical tips, gear reviews, and the skills you need to know from the experts in disaster and survival planning. That's Persurvive.com. Persurvive.com. Planning is everything.
IntelliHub.com is an independent news outlet covering a variety of topics such as politics, the economy, the surveillance state, the liberal corporate media bias, and much more. IntelliHub delivers up-to-date, groundbreaking, power-packed, and to-the-point information to daily readers worldwide, making content secure, free, and readily available via a user-friendly and streamlined website theme. Please visit IntelliHub.com for your daily news and views. That's IntelliHub.com. You can follow us on Twitter at IntelliHubNews. Remember, don't forget, go to IntelliHub.com.
And welcome to tonight's episode of the Rained Out RantCast, live on ATN.Live. I'm your host, Chris. Tonight's episode, we've got Human Vibration coming up after the break. If you didn't know, RainedOutRantCast.com is officially live. Go check it out for all clips, links. This episode will be at the top tomorrow. And if you're listening to ATN.Live right now, click that make a pledge button. Help support the network. Help us keep the lights on, if you will. I don't know if you've paid attention, but old Alex Jones is being sued for $2.75 trillion. That's trillion with a fat ass T. This is absolutely fucking insane. And Kanye is being sued for $275 million by the Floyd family. The reason Kanye is being sued by the Floyd family is because Sandy Hook family's got to sue Alex Jones for $1 billion, and now they're asking for $2.75 trillion. Bryson Gray dropped a new song just the other day. Great song. It's called Alex and Ye. That's Bryson Gray. Gray with an A, Gray. And you should check it out. I'm gonna play it now. After the break, Human Vibration will be on. Call lines are open, 205-843-7437. And we'll be back after this. Alex and Ye by Bryson Gray. Check them out on YouTube.
Look what they did to Alex Jones. They trying to rob him of every single thing he owns. How you get sued for a Billy for saying something wrong? They won't stop till everybody being watched by drones. And look what they did to Ye. They want everything. JP Morgan banned his account, but they do Epstein. They care more about Kanye West than they do sex rings. It's like you only have free speech if you left wing. Hey, he wore a White Lives Matter shirt with Candace Owens. She showed her bill and money winning, they both exposed him. They need to get closer to God, though, that's what I'm hoping. Because the deep state hate the stars when they can't control them. They bet Donald Trump while he was sitting president. I guess they don't care if that sets a dangerous precedent. Now they rating him and Mike Lindell without evidence. Is this still America and what it represents? And that's why I'm out here flexing while I'm slaying demons. We living in the end of times, you should show a season. Politicians betray this country, they committing treason. It's all for power, so they laughing while the country bleeding. Look what they did to Alex Jones. They trying to rob him of every single thing he owns. How you get sued for a Billy for saying something wrong? They won't stop till everybody being watched by drones. And look what they did to Ye. They want everything. JP Morgan banned his account, but they do Epstein. They care more about Kanye West than they do sex rings. It's like you only have free speech if you left wing. Look what they did to Andrew Tate. They banned Sneeko too. And everything they did to me, they gon' do to you. They run experiments on people like we in the zoo. They scare you into silence if you have a different view. But you can talk sex, murder, push kids to switch their gender. You can't preach repentance, but you can tell them to be sinners. Biden's daughter exposed them, but nobody gon' remember. The D's and R's work together. I know that y'all beg to differ, but look what they did to Alex Jones. They trying to rob him of every single thing he owns. How you get sued for a Billy for saying something wrong? They won't stop till everybody being watched by drones. And look what they did to Ye. They want everything. JP Morgan banned his account, but they do Epstein. They care more about Kanye West than they do sex rings. It's like you only have free speech if you left wing.
Is your car or truck experiencing ED? That's right.
Broadcasts on weekdays.
Engine dysfunction. Has your drive life become a disappointment? Perhaps you're losing performance, or your pedal is feeling a little sluggish or soft. Maybe you're not able to go as long or as far as you used to. If this sounds familiar, then you need this little purple pill. The Gobi Fuel Boosting Tablet could enhance your performance and give you back your drive life, helping you to go longer and faster and increase acceleration, and helping you enjoy a nice, smooth ride. We are still talking about driving, right? Gobi Fuel Tablets could not only save you money at the pump, but when you share the power of this pill and help others improve their drive life, you can earn money. Lots of money. So don't let ED ruin your drive life. Get Gobi Fuel Boosting Tablets today.
Visit GoGasTab.com.
This is Aaron Cole from the Cole Report. I do a live show every Saturday at 7 a.m. Central. We're going to be going through all of these crazy topics every week. We're going to do deep dives into money, weather, the carbon, the planets coming in, the volcanoes popping. Anything they're going to try to do to depopulate us, we're going to break this down, and we're going to do it live every Saturday at 7 a.m. Central. So please come join me, and let's break this shit down. Thank you.
We hope you enjoy what you hear on Mbellas Talk Network and want to remind you to check the full schedule for live broadcast showtimes. The Shepherd Mbellas Show broadcasts on weekdays, Monday through Friday, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central. Also, don't forget to catch the live broadcast of the Cole Report, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Central. Then on every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, listen to Rained Out RantCast on ATN.Live. Also, remember, don't forget to click the pink button in the upper right corner and make a pledge. Anyone who pledges support of $50 or more will receive 2 of Shep's documentary film DVD videos, and his latest electronic beats album titled Gangstalker 2.0. All shows are rebroadcast and looped daily until the next live show. ATN.Live, the Ambellas Talk Network. ATN.Live.
And we're back with RantCast Live here on ATN.Live. If you're listening on ATN.Live, click the pledge button at the top. Help support the network. Shep's been working pretty hard on the network, keeping it going. Call lines are open tonight, 205-843-7437. Tonight we have Human Vibration joining us. And we're going to talk about basically how everything's, nothing's real, but everything's possible in my eyes. How's it going, Human Vibration?
Hey, Chris. Thanks so much for having me on. Yeah, lots to talk about. I really enjoyed your intro hitting on the Alex Jones. It's such an all-encompassing case. It's something that we should be looking at. All eyes should be on this. It means so much to this community, to the ability to question. And I think the 2.75 trillion, there's not even a single trillionaire in the entire world yet. We don't even have trillionaires yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is just to scare people. And then you have, Kanye being sued. Kanye gave, the Floyd family, $2.5 million?
Right,
for their college.
Early days, that was the story.
Yeah, in 2020 for the kids' college, and now that he's being sued for $275 million. So, and with that thing, it's right there in the coroner's report, the autopsy report, that
the fentanyl.
Yeah, he had extreme. It does not say he died of fentanyl, though.
It specifically says no life-threatening injuries. That's what.
Yes, and
then it's suggestive of fentanyl. I think it's all theater, so I think that we're all just supposed to look at these coroner's reports and point to them and go, be aghast by them. It's all very, very, very strange circumstances with that whole. I'm not surprised that case will not go away. It's simply all things considered, wild cases happen all the time. For that to have created such a groundswell. People will literally, we marched like we hadn't marched in decades over such a strange, unfortunate story.
Yeah, and the whole Black Lives Matter and,
so much sprung from that. It was just.
That thing drove me nuts. That Black Lives, just not drove me nuts, just it's like, fuck your Black Lives Matter. I was saying that back then because Jake Blake was the major part of that.
Official from day one.
Yeah, but when you got white kids in Lincoln, Nebraska, right? Because we used to do riot watches on my Facebook lives. So
wow, okay, yeah.
And we noticed some crazy things like the people in the red sweaters and how they seemed to be instigators and stuff. But I mean, there was one where it was showing in Lincoln, Nebraska, and you had the college kids there marching, remember Breonna Taylor, and then switch from Breonna Taylor to Jacob Blake. And Jacob Blake, if he's real, he raped his baby's mama, and that is he was trying to steal her car, and he should have never been there in the first place if no one was supposed to be there. When they talk about
whole thing
poor baby Rittenhouse,
right? The every detail more sordid and let's be honest, gross and grotesque than the last. For all of these cases, on the surface, they're these imperfect anti-heroes at best, but when you start digging deep, these individuals and these characters that are at the heart of many of these kind of societal traumatic tests of humanity, like I guess they all are kind of like litmus tests in some way of how are we going to react if X happens, what's the response? And I don't know. I think a lot of it was just completely wholly manufactured, which begs so many other questions. But as we're discussing, these things all happened around the same time. There seemed to be like a catalyst, and we seem to, as a society, just be caught up in a frenzy. And it reminds me almost of the Salem witch trials, where it doesn't matter what's going on, we're just in a frenzy, and everywhere we point, there's something that falls into that category of accusation. I don't know. It got to be a point where it was just like a firestorm of really, really, really negative behaviors and almost like civil unrest. I felt like they were positioning us for, to be honest, a civil war. And then January 6th rolls around, and then that is like insurrectionist discussions. Things are ramping up.
And the January 6th, I mean, that was 100% theater. I mean, Alex Jones paid someone $500,000 to set up a stage and shit. And then Ray Epps, the whole Ray Epps thing. Then you get the whole theater of, them guys in their stupid court shit, their primetime court shit they're doing, which now I guess I think they are subpoenaing Trump. So that's going to be a great show.
He's coming back in a big way. He's got rallies. He's going to be subpoenaed. It's the season of Trump. It seems like we're heading into a season of Trump. Perfectly timed. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a wreck. I feel like this is a time of that. Boris Johnson. Well, he I guess he just dropped out, but there was for a second there he was back in the ring for coming back in, taking Liz Truss's position. But I think today he decided it was decided that his name was no longer in the running. But I felt like this
I don't know how people would and that whole thing, it's
44 days. That's a very strange.
A lot of these people, I don't think any of it. I mean, when it comes down to showing what they can do with the deep fakes and the Unreal Engine, I don't know if you've seen that they use for parts of the Matrix, the new Matrix movie, to try to seamlessly, make the video game or whatever into Hollywood, I guess, to where you can't tell which is which.
Yeah.
So, and then with the Zelensky
the whole
thing,
time though, that's always the name of the game, to blend this to a mixed reality to where we accept the real as what is unreal as real, and it's just a slow conditioning over time with whatever methodology of the day. The methodology to deceive us matches the technology that is presented to us, and it always just works in perfect harmony. And I think right now we're actually kind of at this point. Maybe it's this singularity in a sense where we become wise to the fact that this type of technologies, these major advanced, what we understand as a quote unquote advanced technologies, have always existed, and it's just gotten doled out over time as we're the story of society is ready to progress, and we participate in this what seems to be a natural progression, but was really is just scripted. That's how I see technology, all these major advancements. And that's why they're all spearheaded by these characters, your Elon Musks and your just the figureheads. Jeff Bezos with that wonky eye, he literally looks like a DC villain.
Yeah, give him a monocle. Oh wait, the Monopoly guy doesn't have a monocle.
He's one monocle short of an official villain. And it's I feel
his laugh.
Yeah, he has kind of and he's going up to space, and I have my own thoughts on space.
He has the most
manipulation.
Dick-looking rocket too.
Even the Amazon logo is a dick.
Yep, the Amazon logo is a dick. They try to say it's A to Z, which it is A to Z, but it's a double meaning because it is a curved penis.
It is.
Because they love their penises.
And then he came out with those dick pics, and it's it's been a dick all along, y'all.
Oh, he got dick pic too?
He did. Early
I think I heard that.
I hate that I know, I hate that I know this dishy gossip about these characters, but this is how it works. It's fascinating, and so I know, and so it's implanted in my mind. These details don't matter, but yes, early in he got divorced from his his wife who was with him before his his rocket ride to the success story, and so now he's with this new woman. And early into that, I guess it was leaked that he was sending her saucy photos, dick pics essentially, and the the joke is that it's been on the box this whole time.
Yeah, it's yeah, and it is weird that he hasn't he doesn't just show up with hair. Because
You'd think
Elon Musk was losing his hair, but if that dude's real, then that's one of those dumb wigs that they just glue on.
Elon Musk is such an interesting character because he's part of the trifecta. I mean, what is he? He's money because his background is PayPal, so he's the money guy. He started this peer-to-peer network, really revolutionary when it comes to monetary systems.
I made the point on PayPal, how PayPal was kind of the first, not blockchain, but the first like digital currency type thing we had, because I believe Elon and Peter Thiel have something to do with Bitcoin.
Right. And it was like our own little pocket. Like it was our little wallet in space, in the universe, that we could share money, to and fro. It's been, now there's like everything. Every bank has some sort of similar money sharing application. So it's not like super revolutionary, but at the time it was. Now he's Mr. Space with SpaceX. I think space.
He's got a candy factory. Cartoons. Shout out Kevin Moore. Yes, he does. The boring.
Elon Musk.
The boring. He is the regular old Willy Wonka. Again, shout out to Kevin, because Kevin's the one who Kevin Mooring, which he's the one who told me I should have you on. One of the people that told me.
Shout out to Kevin then.
Yeah, and he said that Elon Musk was a regular old Willy Wonka and said he had a candy factory. I said, bullshit. Yeah, the boring candy factory. So he's got it all. Elon Musk has it all. And then you seen
AI, Neuralink, all that stuff. Oh, everything. I mean,
and then one of his baby's mamas, the shit she sings about, submit to AI and like.
He even said the other day that he thinks that she's a figment of his own imagination, of his own. He rendered her. He rendered her in this simulation. He went hardcore on simulation theory the other day. Just the other day. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's and then his Starlink and all that, the back and forth. He's gonna buy Twitter and fire everybody, which is cool. Go ahead, fire everybody.
Conversation.
Fire everybody. But nothing. What's going to change? I mean, I guess Trump's gonna pop back up on Twitter.
Probably.
Just in time for the
I don't know
elections,
anybody that joins Truth Social. I don't really know anybody that participates in Trump's world that he created, I guess, or that's attributed to this character.
I guess there's tons of people, because Rumble's connected to it.
Powerful if he came back to Twitter. That would be powerful. Okay, well, Elon also said famously now that Twitter is made up of way more than 5% bots. Twitter's like, oh, it's only 5%. And Elon's like, hold the phone. I think it's way more. It's kind of, the pot calling the kettle black, because I think Elon's more of a character himself as well. So it's almost like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, his Twitter is probably a bot. I mean, like.
I do. Yeah. I think Twitter's a way more sophisticated, almost like reflective mirror. I think it's like a mostly unreal, but generated by the real that we put into it. Like most of this world, I think that this finite realness, we actually build the world around us in ways that we're not quite capable of understanding. We contribute. We kind of render as we go. I like to say that. If you go the real woo-woo route, metaphysical, we are rendering as we go.
That job, the definition consistently, we've allowed them to reframe what it means.
With our
the theory that nothing does.
We're really sophisticated and doing trillions of petabytes or whatever of data processing. We just have a hard time like sharing that data efficiently. But like our brains are incredible at what they can do. and visualize for us. It's really and also that leads itself up to optical illusion, which is one of my favorite topics of conversation as well, because
Yeah, I seen you
our brains
post one
do
of them.
all sorts of stuff without our realizing it. And cognitive conditioning is real. It's brainwashing, and we will really see things. We will not see things that we're meant to not see. We're conditioned to not see. It becomes kind of interesting what we can like X out because we've been conditioned not to see certain
Well,
things.
how much of the brain focuses on blocking things out that just so we can have
That's a great
our
question.
reality the way it is, because there's certain light spectrums we can't see. There's certain frequencies we can't
Our
hear.
access is limited.
Yes.
Exactly.
They say we only use 10% of our brain. That I'm assuming is for like cognitive thought.
Right.
Like
Maybe under that subliminal, which is taking up some other stuff.
a little
I
bit,
also
but I
like to
mean,
think,
go ahead.
what if they're just filling our brain with so much junk? Like it's 90% junk.
So it doesn't
And they're
work
telling
right.
us, they're literally
Input.
telling us that we only have 10% left over.
Yeah, that's a total. I mean, like I say, anything's possible. I mean, none of it's real and anything's possible
I think
because
our systems are inefficient. Like language, the way we do it. Why does everybody speak a different language? Why is that so? Why are we still doing that? If we really wanted to connect as human beings, we would have jumped that shark already. You think about like human evolution, we would have had that thought already.
is it because of religion that keeps that separation
so
of
many things?
language?
So many things. So many things that seem deep, but I don't think human history really goes that back far, at least our iteration of it, like this Westworld style loop that we're on. I don't think that it really, I think that we kind of started the Wild West, and this has been like Gen 1. Gen 1 of us kind of like came into this like place that was already made, and all like the great things that we ooh and ah. We're like, how was that done? How was that done? How did they do that? How they did that? Well, it was already made for us, and that's why like everything that we make as man today never quite can stack up to what we could do then. Oddly, with even though we have way more sophisticated tools these days, it's kind of mind blowing. Architecture, art, sculpture. It's so interesting. Even it's just crazy how regressed we are as a culture.
Yeah, we're going
all this way
backwards.
forward. Weirdly, it doesn't make sense really.
I mean, look at
it only
how
makes sense when
just the disease and stuff we deal with, which now the uptake is coming from the old vaccine shit, but the even before that, I mean, the cancers and disease that people are dying from, and here we are, we're supposed to be the most technologically
Sure.
advanced, and then like
cancer treatment
supposedly in
hasn't
human
changed.
history,
in 70 years.
Yeah.
We're still using chemotherapy and radiation treatments established decades ago, and it's poison, and we haven't progressed. I mean, literally, those are first and second points of protocol.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, and then I mean, if you go back
And even
look,
the tests can cause cancer. It's crazy, screenings and stuff, and it's wild. I don't think we even understand what cancer is. I think cancer is so misunderstood and therefore hyper mistreated. And then people are dying from this poison. Imagine that. Oh wow, you died from chemotherapy.
yeah, and now they're
You got
saying
popped full of toxins.
this rapid uptick in cancers in people under 50, which we had already, we being the conspiracy community had already pretty much called this out. I mean, SPARS called this out. Their own documents called this shit out. And now they're just playing along. And you see the like the numbers, the 33 like signals, and it seems like they're signaling for something again because we keep seeing the 33 again. We've seen that real heavy at the beginning of COVID. And then
to me, that's just more, it's more confirmation that there is a design, there's a script, and the insertion of these symbols and signs, it's almost as if the articles can't not include them. It's not that they are, and they're everywhere. Why? I think they have to be. I think it's like part of the language. I think it's part of the language of the code and the deception. And I think it's a much shallower pool to pull from. And that's why I think some of these stories are getting weirder and wilder, and the 33s are getting more and more up in the headline and in the key details. And I think it's just a tell. It's just this, it's like a poker tell.
Well, it could be like a signaling for the next like false flag or the next drop. I mean, they signaled that they have a more deadly coronavirus, and then you have what's going on in Ukraine and the Baltic Sea and
Ukraine's
with
wild.
Russia. Yeah, Ukraine
Have you ever
is.
thought of having Les Luthor on? Speaking of Ukraine, he's my favorite.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a hold of him. Hey, we're going to go to break real quick. We'll be right back. Call lines are open because I want to get into Ukraine and Russia after the break. Call lines are open 205-843-7437. We'll be back on ATN.Live with more with Human Vibration. Stay tuned.
Hey, it's Aaron from the Cole Report, and I just want to remind you, if you miss any of the live shows, you can catch the rebroadcast all week long. There's a schedule on the homepage. Click it and it'll show you everything going on for the whole week. And if that's not convenient enough for you, you can catch the Shepard and Bella Show, the Rained Out RantCast, and the Cole Report on Apple and Spotify for your listening pleasure.
Is your car or truck experiencing ED? That's right, engine dysfunction. Has your drive life become a disappointment? Perhaps you're losing performance, or your pedal is feeling a little sluggish or soft. Maybe you're not able to go as long or as far as you used to. If this sounds familiar, then you need this little purple pill. The Gobi Fuel Boosting Tablet could enhance your performance and give you back your drive life, helping you to go longer and faster and increase acceleration, and helping you enjoy a nice, smooth ride. We are still talking about driving, right? Gobi Fuel Tablets could not only save you money at the pump, but when you share the power of this pill and help others improve their drive life, you can earn money, lots of money. So don't let ED ruin your drive life. Get Gobi Fuel Boosting Tablets today.
Visit GoGasTab.com.
ATN.Live, the Umbrellas Talk Network is beyond news talk. It's cutting-edge talk, 24/7, 365. Real people, real-life conversation. ATN.Live is also home to the Shepard Umbrellas Show and other great shows. The website is simple to use, and the sound quality is phenomenal. We stream in 194K audio and have a backup 64K stream for folks who don't have much internet bandwidth. Remember, don't forget, go to ATN.Live now. And for those who pledge $50 or more, you will receive free merchandise from Shepard Umbrellas. His 2 films on DVD video and his latest electronic beats album, so show some love. ATN.Live, the Umbrellas Talk Network, ATN.Live.
And we're back on RantCast Live on ATN.Live with Human Vibration. If you're listening on ATN.Live, remember, hit the help support the network and hit the donate, the pledge button up there at the top. Before the break there, we were talking about, started to talk about the Ukraine-Russia conflict. And if you're listening right now live on ATN.Live or Twitter or anywhere, the call lines are open, 205-843-7437. Call in, let us know what you're thinking. But HV, we were talking about Ukraine and Russia before the break, and that whole situation, because that situation is it's a wag the dog situation. They're just using Ukraine as a laundromat.
It does seem like a lot of money is going over there. An incredible amount of money is going to this place, to this area. I personally believe, based on what I've seen, that it's a theater set. I think that all of war, it kind of is an overarching theory, all of war is essentially a strategic relocation of peoples and resources, and kind of a theatrical show that seems quite scary and maybe could feel quite viscerally scary for everybody involved, including the townspeople and the soldiers and everyone involved. But at a higher order, higher level, it's theatrics.
Well, it's even referred to as the
Theater of war.
Theater of war.
Exactly. Even Sun Tzu's famous, the best known work on war is called The Art of War. And I think that is quite telling, in a sense, that it is something that at the highest level, I really don't believe countries are fighting each other. I think that there is a great script and power to be gleaned from it appearing that these over time, these certain territories are at odds, for whatever reason, politically, energetically, for all sorts of things. But I don't think that the
shep.vip or shepherdambellis.com, and you can get all your merch.
The reasons are true, and as they have always wanted us to believe. I don't believe that the sacrifice is as dire, and I also don't believe the motivations are even real. It's just all manufactured. Yeah, it's all manufactured, but it feels very real for everyone who's on the ground. But that's just because that's how it's supposed to feel. It's as if everyone involved is in a haunted house without realizing that they are in a haunted house. If you go to a haunted house and you know it, you can be spooked and it's fine. Ultimately, you're like, okay, I know I'm in a haunted house.
Yeah, that's why they bore me.
Good.
It's just haunted houses are boring because you're in it.
Right.
But if you stumble into, the one with 13 ghosts in it.
Right. I think the best person to talk about this particular level of theatrics is Les Luthor. He went to Ukraine. He went there. He went to the key sites, and in the key times early in when this war, we were told is a war between Russian forces and Ukrainian forces, that things were happening in places that they were happening. He went to those places and showed that it was kind of like life as usual. And because of some very strategic maneuvering on the part of the local governances, train stations people were corralled in certain ways to where lines seemed so much more intense, and the experience seemed so much more intense, and rations were being passed out, and blankets, and
and then you can't tell which is which either, because Ukrainian language is relatively new, and it's
1991.
It's the same as Russian.
It's the same language. It's dialectically.
And these two languages, these aren't something. You can put them in the Google Translate or something like that. But if you're into etymology and you can kind of read other languages, you can't read Russian and Ukraine because it's completely different.
Character based.
Yeah.
They kind of changed up the characters, but essentially, if you were speaking it, there's a lot of similarities gleaned. They just make it's again a really unnecessary scrambling to give this false idea of individuality, and it didn't exist as Ukraine until 1991. And before that, it was just a Soviet bloc. Everything's always been this, that. Russia wasn't even Russia until it was USSR prior to that. And before that, it was.
And it's the oldest civilizations, basically modern civilizations in Europe, is Ukraine and Russia.
Right.
Next to China. China's been doing their thing for a long, long time. But Russia just celebrated 1,444 years or something.
Right.
And come to find out, I'm not a
What he's got to say on his debut tonight.
geography. I wasn't big into geography, but
Daddy, though.
yes,
in our
Russia's always
lifetimes,
been the bad guy.
the
I mean, for
I like that, and I just learned that today.
life, Russia's always been the bad guy. He's got a birth, it's Putin, whatever. They're always the bad guy. But the Ukraine, come to find out, the Ukraine has like the oldest universities in Europe. It's got like 4 of the oldest universities ever built.
Or not. I think I put like cutting to the chase, and it's cut to the chase.
Built in Europe are in Ukraine. Out and there was how many, when people wasn't Russian. Russia took over Chernobyl, and people are like, "Wait a minute, I thought that was already Russia."
Well, more mind blowing is when you learn that many people never moved out of Chernobyl. And in and around Chernobyl, the so-called fallout zone, where it was essentially nuclear holocaust, where literally nothing, not even a grain of grass or a blade of grass was to survive. Wildlife thrived, animal life just thrived. The forest thrived. People still lived there. There's something about nuclear technology that has been positioned as such a boogeyman, and I don't think we understand that either. There's so much. I think all the. We talked about cancer earlier. It's wildly different, obviously, than nuclear, except for radiation. The chemotherapy. So weirdly, they're connected. But
now they're starting to. You got Eddie Bravo, nukes are fake, no matter what. And now they're coming out and fucking telling us that. I got this clip here. I'll see if it plays through with Neil deGrasse Tyson on Bill Maher. I think this was just last week.
See, there needs to be a response.
Okay, well, plus modern nukes don't have the radiation.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Problem, just to be clear.
Really?
You still blow to smithereens, but it's a different kind of weapon than the Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Nuclear weapons, if they're exploded, don't have a radiation problem?
Not if it's a hydrogen bombs. No, not in the way that we used to have to worry about it with fallout and all the rest of that. What you really have to worry about is being vaporized, and after that, if you're not vaporized, blown to bits by the shockwave. That's a way bigger problem that you're going to have.
Yeah, they never had the nukes to begin with. Just like Hiroshima and the other spots.
Back in the day, they used to tell our parents that they would tell our parents that if a nuclear bomb was detonated anywhere in the vicinity, that everything would be annihilated. But in the same breath, they were also told that all they had to do to protect themselves was hide under their wooden desk.
Yeah.
Those types of inconsistent thoughts, those discordant thoughts, because both can't be true. It can't cause nuclear winter and you be safe under a flimsy wooden desk. Those things just cannot exist together. But when you force a mind to believe both things, both in the threat and in this flimsy, innocuous solution that's unneeded because there's no threat, it's just part of the theater. It's just part of the theater, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah, because now you got people fucking freaking out again that we're gonna get
nuked and be like,
nuked. In which there is bomb. There is, I believe there's bombs that blow up.
I'm sure there's explosives.
There's explosives.
Right.
I know they can make bombs out of sparklers. Right. I've seen it.
Right. I think a lot of it is actually TNT. Just like TNT is the same thing that's used in fireworks. We see used in sparklers, and that's also what we used to see on every Acme cartoon. Those big things of TNT that they would, press down on and create some sort of
because
explosion.
nuclear weapons were supposed to be the weapons of mass destruction that Saddam had. And he never had any because they don't fucking exist.
The whole thing. We've always gone to war over nothing, over things that do not exist, over fears and boogeymen that simply do not exist. They're vapor. They always have been.
It's that like 1984. This boogeyman over the wall.
Every time.
That, and speaking of wall, they're trying to build a fucking wall and put us all in it.
Yeah, 1984 was big on creating war heroes that out of thin air. And what was the Ghost of Kiev but a war hero out of thin
the
air?
Snake Island.
Right.
The Ghost of Kiev was literally out of thin air. Literally. I mean, they released video game footage. I have footage of, and again, they speak Russian or Ukrainian or Ukrainian. I don't know.
Yep.
But so
there's
it's
a
hard
mix, yeah.
to understand what the fuck they're saying. And so I have a whole folders of what's supposed to be Russian and folders of Ukrainian. And you see these, like, there's one video where they have mines across the bridge, and a car's trying to get by the mines while someone's filming it. It's like, I don't know, kick the mine out of the way or something. But they make it like oh no, it's so dangerous, blah blah blah. And then the rest of the video, it shows them literally just kick the mines out of the way, because that's all you have to do.
Because they're not, they're
not
like,
even real mines.
Detonating.
They're not even real mines. You had another video where they had that tank.
To Les. I can't even talk about this without shout out to Les again. He showed that too. He showed, he would drive along these roads where there are these bombed out cars, but it was so clear once you were aware of this that the cars were placed. Everything was placed. They were old equipment that had just been busted, just brought out, almost staged. It seemed like, and so much of Ukraine is rural. We kind of forget about this. It's hyper rural. It's Soviet detonated. It was all relocated. People were relocated out. And if you did live in areas of Ukraine, it was in these hyper city blocks. There wasn't much of a suburban outlier that we know of now. Is mostly just empty space. And in that empty space, I think over time, you can easily create this war land, this place that's ready to be, cities that existed in this, the 60s and 70s, but haven't been like ghost cities of China that we're aware of. I think there were also ghost cities of Kiev, and then we have the ghost pilot. I don't know. I think that so much of what we saw, these bombed out places, bombed out spaces, I don't think they're lived in at all. Or they're video game graphics. I think there's a mixing of reality and unreality.
Well, yeah, I mean, they released that one video of the dog fight, and that I think that made it on CNN. Maybe I can't totally remember that. It's been a while, but it was on a lot of major networks with the worldwide. BBC played it, and I had to watch it like 3 times when I seen it. And when the plane turns straight at the camera, it's like, this is a video game. This has got to be a video game. You don't why the fuck would you do that?
It's a feeling more than the visual too. It's a feeling that this isn't how it would really go. Like, this doesn't feel real. This doesn't feel right. It may be mimicking like the appearance of what could be captured theoretically, but it just doesn't feel right. It feels. I see that, I think we see a lot of the fake stuff comes at us all the time. It's not always, I talk about, crimes and, fake victims and things like that. But I also think a lot of cute videos that get shared, that go viral. A lot of viral stuff I think is false. I think is fake pretending to be real. And every single time we let an input in that we don't question to be with the reality or fidelity of, and it's not real and we just accept it as real, I think that weakens our system, it dulls our blade. That those tools that we are born with, I think it dulls those. And I kind of think that is over time what this whole place is all about, is to dull our innate, our inner weapon, our inner sword, our ability to recognize reality and things that are true.
Yeah, they don't want you to they don't want you to believe your own senses, your ears, your eyes, your own taste, your smell. And talking about, it being make-believe. Well, the Ukrainian government came out after it was called out that the ghost of
back, and hopefully eventually
Eve was fake. The tank running over the civilian.
Right.
That was actually a Ukrainian soldier running over a Ukrainian civilian for. It says
wasn't as it appeared.
Yes.
Whatever it wasn't as it appeared. Which reminds me of that Tiananmen Square. Remember when that poor individual seemed to be mowed down at
Sella, isn't it? Because people remember it as he got mowed down, and now the tank went around him.
Right.
What the fuck is going on here?
Right.
Because I remember
Isn't
I
that
read a
interesting?
book as a kid about Tiananmen Square, and I don't read too many books, but I was a little kid. But
We're meant to know it.
but yeah, the Ukrainian government came out and said we had to make this shit up to boost morale. I mean, they're telling you that what they're doing. And back to Zelensky, which Roger Waters on Joe Rogan, he made a point that Zelensky, him being male, they have male and female, right? As far as the language. So he's Zelensky and his wife is Zelenska. Right? So you got to tell that to the left. I don't know how they're going to figure that one out.
I know that's going to anger some people.
But the whole Zelensky story, the Zelensky thing is where he started out in law school and he dropped out of law school and he went to be a comedian and he started to be a comedian and then he created his own production company called Servant of the People, I believe. And then which created a TV show ultimately after he had been on multiple like talent shows and TV shows. Then he's on a TV show called Servant of the People in where he makes a valiant speech that gets caught on camera and put on YouTube. I believe there's a show in America with now I can't remember the guy from Dumb and Dumber. He's in it. But anyways, he makes a speech and it gets caught on YouTube. He's a teacher and then he's Ukrainian president. And that show goes for 6 years where he's the biggest celebrity in Ukraine. And then within 6 months of their last election, that show's over and that production company creates a political party called Servant of the People in which then it's a literal propaganda arm and it's parallels Trump, not fully, it just in the way of how the left was like, oh, he's an actor, oh, he doesn't know anything about politics and blah blah blah, and now they lift Zelensky up. Right. And it's the same thing. I mean, he was a comedian who played the piano with his penis. Just like that transgender that is now going viral on the BBC.
The highly inappropriate.
Highly
around
fucking
children, no matter
inappropriate.
How you slice it. Right. I don't actually think it's happening on the scale that is being projected, but I do think it is happening. And I think it's happening narrow lens and we're being shown and it's meant to inflame us. It really is meant to inflame us.
You're talking about the transgender stuff.
Right. Well, all of that stuff, like the whole library, tranny library hour.
Yeah.
If you want that, anyway, you slice it, that would be horrific. You don't want that. But I think a lot of that was actually CGI. I think some of that was not actually happening. I do think it was happening on a certain level, and that allowed, because it was happening on a smaller level, that allowed some like fakery stuff to pass through as well. Something about Zelensky. I love wordplay. Real quick on Zelensky though, his name, if you do like Google Translate speaking or you speak the text from Ukrainian to English, Zelensky is evil man. And I tried this for myself and I did Zelensky Volodymyr and like kind of like said it very purpose like Zelensky Volodymyr, and that gave me the evil dreamer owns the peace.
Reminds me of Holodomir.
It reminds. There's something about the name. The thing
with that though, here's the deal with the Google Translate. When Kobe died, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Kobe died is when I think the first California case was the day Kobe died, and then he was buried in Corona del Mar.
Corona.
Well,
very suspicious.
If you
Corona
went on
Corona meaning a Corona.
If you went on to Google Translate and you put in COVID in English, translated it to Hebrew, then copied the Hebrew characters, pasted them back into the translate back into English, it was Kobe.
Oh no.
Now, when this happened, I did these at the time. I only did Facebook Lives. I didn't have my show, but I had told people when I do these lives that was coded in there. That had to be coded in there. And then later on, if you try it now, it doesn't work.
Oh.
So someone went in there from Google, and I have screen mirrors of video of showing me putting this in, doing it, and showing you that it goes COVID to COVID to whatever shows up on that the Hebrew letters, which are backwards, the little characters, and then it shows it translate to Kobe. It does not do that anymore. COVID translates to code, I believe. But if you move if you move a couple, yes, if you move a couple things, it will show Kobe. I think there's a little tiny floating yod or something on there that
There's
it will.
something there.
But
There's
yeah,
something there.
the Zelensky thing. I seen that Zelensky thing. I didn't go try it.
See,
I just
did, 'cause I
know
was like,
that
there's
with
no
the
way.
Google.
I said to myself, there's no way that this works. There's no way. I was very
I
hesitant.
said that with the Kobe thing. I was like, no fucking way this works. So I went and did it. It worked. So right away I recorded me doing it because I knew it was coded, that someone went in there and fucking did this. And who did that? Which that can be found out. I mean, that's all trackable.
I think we do this. Like, I think we're making the query. Like, we're building out the.
Well, I'm just saying
web.
it's now you can go to Google Translate. You can try the same thing that you can watch in my video being done, and it doesn't work. You know,
right. The trap.
Someone
was not trap, but like the little playground that you could play in with that cool seeming connection was programmed just to happen at that space and time.
Yeah, or someone coded it in there and then goes on to Reddit.
Right.
Very little.
And goes, hey, check this out, and then it like while he's doing it, I don't think they were TikToking about it because TikTok
It's a much bigger
wasn't
conversation,
huge.
right? That's it's a much deeper conversation about what's going on and how we're being manipulated.
Yeah, I mean, and done right in our faces, and in a way that is creepy as fuck. Because at that time, Kobe fans looking it up, it's to them creepy, because they really. Oh, it looks like we got some callers. They're gonna have to wait till after the break, though. We're about to go to our 2-hour break. Well, let's take a call from Bethany. Bethany's called in. We got a couple minutes here. Let's see if Shep pops. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, just the Zelensky.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
You guys hear me?
Yep.
Hey, it's Rob from Black Labs. I gave you a call about the flim flam that they've been doing with some of these nuclear warheads over the years, and also the fact that the weird part that you guys went over with Neil deGrasse Tyson, where he's saying, "Oh, well, the fallout's not that big of a deal anymore." Well, since the 70s, the leader of that, the guy who designed that weapon, was Samuel Cohen. And what's funny is that's where the lore behind the neutron bomb came about. So they have different different release levels, different ways you can program the warhead. So that being said, if you have a high level of neutron release, you generally have typically less radiation, residual radiation being released into the environment. And that has been the main thing that they've been working on. Now, strangely enough, in his later years, Samuel Cohen denounced it, said there was no such thing as a neutron bomb. So it's weird how they go through and they try and convolute this stuff. And now you have somebody like Neil deGrasse Tyson bringing it back up saying, oh, yeah, apparently there is a neutron bomb, no radiation. So which is it? And why are they trying to obscure this in this way and confuse everything?
Yeah, and then the way they're talking about the tactical nukes, the mini nukes, basically, the things they used on 9/11. And the way they're trying to flip flop on this is, it's all part of the theater. It's all part of this, this
North
bullshitting
Korea's
us.
Nuclear
North Korea,
quote unquote.
They keep shooting.
Makes me laugh.
They keep shooting warheads. Why the fuck would you waste these things?
Those pictures look so silly, though.
Hey,
they
just don't look real.
Them.
We're gonna head
Maybe because you were given them and told to shoot them, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, if they're even shooting them, I wouldn't know one way or the other. But we're gonna take a break and reset for the the second hour.
Good question.
And Rob, I mean, if you want to stay on the line, you're more than welcome to, and we'll get back to you. The call lines are open, 205-843. Thanks for calling. 7437. That's 205-843-7437. We're going to be back with the second hour with more with Human Vibration.
Nationwide gas prices have reached an all-time record high, and there's a lot of us that are feeling the squeeze. We can help alleviate those pains at the pump through a revolutionary 5th-generation Nobel Prize fuel catalyst, now available to the public. Boost by Govee increases miles per gallon by an average of 20%, allowing you to go further, lessening how many times you need to fuel up. That's money in the bank. Just pop this little purple pill into your tank and get big gas savings. Professional truck drivers can also experience massive savings because it can also be used in diesel engines and decreases the amount of diesel exhaust fluid that's required. This unparalleled purple pill also increases octane levels by 5 points, which allows regular fuel to act like premium and is safe with over 650 million miles tested without damaging a single vehicle. It's time to free up your budget and increase your bottom line today. Visit GoGasTab.com. That's GoGasTab.com.
We hope you enjoy what you hear on Ambella's Talk Network and want to remind you to check the full schedule for live broadcast showtimes. The Shepherd Ambella Show broadcasts on weekdays, Monday through Friday, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central. Also, don't forget to catch the live broadcast of the Cole Report, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Central. Then on every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, listen to Rained Out RantCast on ATN.Live. Also, remember, don't forget to click the pink button in the upper right corner and make a pledge. Anyone who pledges support of $50 or more will receive 2 of Shep's documentary film DVD videos, and his latest electronic beats album titled Gangstalker 2.0. All shows are rebroadcast and looped daily until the next live show. ATN.Live, the Ambellas Talk Network. ATN.Live.
ATN. ATN.Live.
You are now listening to our number 2 of the Rained Out RantCast on ATN.Live.
That's fucking retarded.
And we're back with RantCast Live. This is the top of hour 2. We've got Human Vibration with us. We were talking with Rob, was on the line before we went to break. I don't know if he stayed on the line or not. Shep's trying to produce and do some other things at the same time. But we were talking about Ukraine and just the theater of this war and the psychological warfare. I mean, this whole thing, we've been dealing with an insane psyop for over 2 years now. I mean, just on that side of it, as far as the COVID, and then you know, the Q stuff, that the Q movement, which that's a psyop in
It's
itself.
fascinating. It's a fascinating look into how I would say, I first became aware of Q in 2017, and I will say that I got very involved in getting down in that that whole thing. It felt so good to be able to. I was very conspiracy minded. I always have been very curious, and at that time I was very conspiracy minded. And from 2017 really to 2019, I was kind of down the Q rabbit hole because it gave me so many tools that I had for myself. It gave me the Podesta emails that I could search through, and it just felt so true and felt so real and tangible. And now I just see it as a very elaborate rabbit hole that was pre-dug for me to lose myself down. And it's
there's some truth in it, and there's a bunch of bullshit with it, and then it's meant to be
It's
used
well
that
done.
like the
I'm
word
glad-
E or the word chemtrails, so that way, oh, you're a Q-tard, oh, you're a Q,
Right.
oh, you believe.
Right.
It's like anything you say, the automatic response is you're a Q-tard. Rob, you're still on the line, I see, and we were talking about those nukes before. What do you think about the Q?
So Q, we start using the terms that military intelligence uses, so that everyone can go back and easily trace it to the demons that produced it. It's called a limited hangout, where they say, okay, well, we can't hold the information, all the information back. So what we're going to do is we're going to admit to some of it, and then we're going to control the narrative from that point forward by using basically paper cutout Q. We're going to go ahead and control that narrative by controlling this Q character, and then we'll feed them some good information and some that's just ridiculous, and then we can eventually discredit it.
Yeah, I mean, and then again, I mean, that term, anything that's brought up that goes against the narrative is automatically lumped into this Q thing. I remember I didn't even get into Q, with the drops and all that shit. It was, the drops were too confusing.
It was so immersive. So much going on.
I mean, I just kept getting, messages to go watch The Fall of the Cabal. And I tried to watch the first episode, but it was like, I already know this stuff, and this lady's voice annoys me. And I never watched it, but I've watched part 2. Part 2 was pretty good. I'd never watched the full part 1, but I mean, there was things in it that is real, and then there's a whole ton of bullshit. So it can be
like a maze.
Yeah. So it can be
a lot
used
of the
against
chambers
people.
are false. Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And it's the same as, it's just a conspiracy theory or theorist, or even like chemtrails. Chemtrails is one of those terms. Once you say chemtrails, just shuts them off. Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. Well, we got to take
shorthand for
a quick
no longer
break
listening to
again.
you.
The 5-minute break. We'll be right back with eight human vibration.
Is your car or truck experiencing ED? That's right, engine dysfunction. Has your drive life become a disappointment? Perhaps you're losing performance, or your pedal is feeling a little sluggish or soft. Maybe you're not able to go as long or as far as you used to. If this sounds familiar, then you need this little purple pill. The Gobi Fuel Boosting Tablet could enhance your performance and give you back your drive life, helping you to go longer and faster and increase acceleration, and helping you enjoy a nice, smooth ride. We are still talking about driving, right? Gobi Fuel Tablets could not only save you money at the pump, but when you share the power of this pill and help others improve their drive life, you can earn money. Lots of money. So don't let ED ruin your drive life. Get Gobi Fuel Boosting Tablets today.
Visit GoGasTab.com.
This is Aaron Cole from the Cole Report. I do a live show every Saturday.
Or your pedal is feeling a little sluggish.
At 7 a.m. Central. We're going to be going through every week. We're going to do deep dives into money, weather, the carbon, the planets coming in, the volcanoes popping. Anything they're going to try to do to depopulate us, we're going to break this down, and we're going to do it live every Saturday at 7 a.m. Central. So please come join me, and let's break this shit down. Thank you.
We hope you enjoy what you hear on Mbela's Talk Network and want to remind you to check the full schedule for live broadcast showtimes. The Shepherd Mbela Show broadcasts on weekdays, Monday through Friday, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central. Also, don't forget to catch the live broadcast of the Cole Report, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Central. Then on every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, listen to Rained Out RantCast on ATN.Live. Also, remember, don't forget to click the pink button in the upper right corner and make a pledge. Anyone who pledges support of $50 or more will receive 2 of Shep's documentary film DVD videos, and his latest electronic beats album titled Gangstalker 2.0. All shows are rebroadcast and looped daily until the next live show. ATN, the Mbela's Talk Network. ATN.Live.
And we're back on RantCast Live on ATN.Live. We're talking with Human Vibration. You can find Human Vibration on Twitter, right? Where all can they find you at?
Yeah, Twitter on Twitter at Human Vibration. Also on Instagram. I'm a lot more active these days on Instagram. I like the stories. I'll share the story. So that's at Human Vibration _Insta. And also I record a podcast called Realize Radio. And
great reports. Quinn, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
we've got about 20 or so to Realize Radio. And then we also do things on our Patreon channel for Realize Radio. So I do a lot of content for that. That's kind of an ongoing thing. I really love I love just talking about this stuff. It's all very fascinating, and I do that with my co-host over there is Rambo. Seek the Truth 101. Seek the Truth 101 on Twitter. He covers a lot of fakery as far as really the how Hollywood has commandeered our understanding of reality for so long, and all the techniques from the super technological, like hyper tech digital applications of fakery to all the analog old Hollywood magic stuff, like from the wigs and silicone masks and makeup and the theatrics and just camera trickery and these little old school tech things. He's really covered all sorts of trickery from that angle. I find it fascinating. So we have a lot of good conversations. That's where I'm pouring my energy into these days.
Sweet, people have to go check those places out. If you're listening live right now on ATN.Live, you can't finish the show. This will be available on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all the other podcast platforms on Monday in the morning there. Also, the call lines are open, 205-843-7437. I don't know. Rob, are you still on the line? All right. I don't think Rob's still on the line. But yeah, we were talking again, Neil deGrasse Tyson, them, starting to come out and basically tell us some of the fuckery that they're doing.
Right. With the threat not being nearly as clear and present as they've suggested it to be over our lifetime. Yeah, I really do wonder what's up. I think that the best and easiest way to control a population is through fear. And if they can just tell us a good enough story, something that keeps us behaving in a certain way simply because we are fearful of an invisible enemy, which I think we can all agree is something that we experienced as an entire society, as entire people, as humanity. We all were up against a quote unquote invisible enemy over the past 3 years or so. It's pretty incredible.
The two steps don't work. No one.
What we can be into with any force. With simply using fear as the mechanism, as the maneuvering, as the weaponry. Really, I like to say we are never up against weapons of mass destruction. We are always up against weapons of mass deception.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Yeah, because just the mental, it's all a big psyop. It's a big war on for your mind, like Alex Jones would say. At Infowars.com.
I had one thing about Alex Jones that I wanted to bring up.
Go ahead.
What's so significant about this whole cascade? We are now in this weird reality where theoretically Alex Jones is staring down the barrel of, you brought it up, the $2.75 trillion financial penalty, which is just ridiculous. But if you rewind the clock, it was just in November that all of this was set in motion simply because he didn't file the paperwork he was supposed to file. This has nothing to do with the truth in any way, shape, or form. He simply set himself up to be civilly penalized because he failed to file documentation in his November. In his defamation
and
case.
Then during the one civil trial, I think it was, where his lawyer sent his entire cell phone. Like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't couldn't you fire that guy right on the spot? When he's sitting there and he's like, well, I guess you got your Perry Mason moment, and it's like, well, why didn't you Perry Mason him back and be like, you're fucking fired, dude? Like, what the fuck? This guy sent, and then the other lawyers, like, we sent emails and said, yo, you accidentally sent this to us, but you never responded, or you did respond and said, nah, it's cool, dude. Like, what?
Yeah, he said that it's cool. I'm not gonna do anything about it. So my lawyer released every single text, tweet. I also think that is just a way to, if they did release every text, tweet, or whatever, now that's part of court record. This is a character anyway. They just want all of these pre-manufactured messages to say that now are part of this public record. So in the future, we'll go look it up and be like, look, oh my gosh, just like the Podesta emails, we could look through, comb every little corner. It's all for us to lose ourselves within. I think that Alex Jones, this whole thing is set to where we don't want to ask the question. It's supposed to, make those locked doors even more tightly locked, and it's going to discourage many people from having conversations that I think we should be having. I don't think we should be scared of having any sort of conversation. I don't think words should be illegal. I really, that's a broad statement. I'm definitely going to put my foot in my mouth for that. Yeah. But I think that it's a horrific time when one of the worst things that we can do, one of the most imploding things that we can do, is to say words. Because so theoretically, OJ killed 2 people, which I don't believe, I think it's all theater, but OJ killed 2 people, and his civil penalty after the fact was $33 million for killing 2 people, 33 milli. Alex Jones said some words, and he's up against 2.75 T, 1,000 billion.
Yeah. And I keep seeing that the killer himself only had to pay 1.7, but because didn't he get killed? I mean, he's dead. Right. I haven't looked into that, but I mean, that's usually what happens, I guess. Like,
looking kid,
not the Sandy Hook, but the Parkland shooter. He probably is going to be,
right,
on the hook for a mill.
All of these are coming back right now. It's all very interesting. It's not surprising at all to me that Alex Jones is in the news for a 2014 event. Concurrently, this 2018
where he apologized.
Like,
And
it's
he, you
just
know, he
all.
said I was wrong. It was
These
real.
things never go to bed.
You know,
These things never go to bed.
but did
They're just open wounds.
he
Open wounds always.
ever say it wasn't real? I mean, I think the words used were like hoax. Because people take
Right.
if you say it's a
Staged,
hoax,
synthetic, manufactured, a giant hoax, and completely fake with actors is the exact quote he used.
okay, yeah. I mean,
But
with
the
the actor
ruling,
part,
the ruling does not negate the supposition. The
Yeah.
ruling does not negate that.
and
Like,
then the
it
fact
still
that
could be a staged synthetic, manufactured, a giant hoax, and completely fake with actors. And he still could be accurate.
well,
But
even
because he
if it
failed to
was
do
real,
one thing,
it's still a fucking hoax because they
still staged synthetic
perpetrate
manufactured.
this. Yeah,
Right.
they
Go,
keep
bingo, bingo.
perpetrating this bullshit to manipulate people,
Right.
and
That's why it's so genius. The
yeah.
wording is just so clever, so genius.
And we see it
The way
over
that
and
things are
over
worded,
and over, like Uvalde. What are your thoughts on Uvalde?
that
Because we
is
can talk
just
about anything on
none of it
ATN.Live.
makes sense again. And even now, it there's no clarity on that. I
Well,
don't.
what has me, real quick, call lines are open 205-843-7437. Go ahead and call in. We want to hear your thoughts. The Uvalde thing, you know, they released that video
Mhm.
with the cop standing in there.
Just
But where's the
lackadaisical,
video
right?
of the mother running through the hallways? Where's the video of the hero cop with the shotgun from his barber running through, right?
I'll
And
tell
how
you,
did
it's
that
where the
interaction
footage-
happen?
It's where the footage of the Vegas shooter. It's where his footage of him carrying in all that
Mhm.
weaponry, which they can't seem to find, is somehow missing. Well, what the
Yeah.
heck?
It's like
It's with all the security footage that got missing from 9/11. Like,
and I
it's all
believe
they.
that the security footage that they showed us from Uvalde was just the training exercise 2 months prior.
Right.
You know,
That's
that's
what
why
it
they're
seems
on the phone. There's no way you can tell me there's that many grown men with guns, bulletproof vests. Some had fucking shields that were bulletproof too. Hearing children screaming and they're gonna fucking just sit there on their cell phone. They're not gonna
They're looking at
react.
the Weather Channel app, right?
And then you got fucking hero cop off duty run through there with no bulletproof vest with fucking four rounds and a
He's a
pump
border
shotty,
patrol,
you know?
a border
Yeah.
patrol agent. I mean,
And you got a mom running in there. She ain't even got nunchucks, nothing. She's just running in there with her fucking Nikes, fucking grabbing kids. Like, where I want to see those fucking videos. They can't show us those videos
those
because
videos do not exist.
yeah, I
Because
mean,
it just
it's
doesn't.
like,
It didn't happen the way
the
we're-
videos of
we were
Jose
told.
Is it Jose Campos being shot in the hallway at the Vegas shooting? Can't see those.
And now
you
they've
know?
told us that like the entire police force has been disbarred. Like because like Uvalde, the
Yep.
story goes, Uvalde had their own school police, which is actually pretty for a city of that size. It was actually pretty unique and rare
Mhm.
for them to have their independent police force. And that independent police force, which from all objective angles, again, this is fabricated, but from all objective angles, if you're thinking it's real, it was a total abject failure, a total abject failure, by every measure. And now they've been completely disbarred, disbanded, but it's not solving for anything because it wasn't a real. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to really think through because there's a lot of trickery at play here. Some have suggested that the school wasn't even open at this time, and that seems to be the way the schools are always demolished after,
Yeah, I mean they destroy the evidence, much like 9/11, like the Oklahoma City, Waco. They destroy that evidence. They get rid of that evidence rapidly.
I think what's being destroyed oftentimes is the lack of reality. And it's hard, it's hard to scrutinize. Like they need to take down a theater set. Just like every theater, you strike it at the end of the production without any care, it just starts coming down.
Yeah.
Like I think that
It's like the moon landing, how they just destroyed the technology and we can't go back. Well, we're going to go back, we promise. But that again is another theater thing, thanks to Kubrick. And, they just destroyed the technology. They got rid of the props. They got rid of the film and all of that shit. And we have to believe it. We have to take their word for it. There's no way they're lying to us. They're fucking NASA. They're the government. You have people that believe, the government will lie about a few things, and then, but this time, they are telling us the truth. This time they care, and they are saving our lives with these vaccines. 100%. They're just handing them out. Nobody's making any money off of them. That's crazy. You're a Q-tard. That's what That's what you'd hear for the past 2 fucking years. Going on
my
3
own thoughts
years
on
now.
the vaccine and what I think that there wasn't a real threat. I don't think there was ever a real threat. I don't really believe in viral contagion at all. I think that what's the most contagious thing is a thought, is an idea, and fear can spread faster than any contagion that they've ever told us. And what we go through as human beings, and what seems to be contagious, is we go through cyclical sheddings, just like trees go through cycles where they drop their leaves. I think that we also go through like times where the cold and flu season is a natural, normal part of the human cycle. And it just appears contagious because we kind of go through it together. And sometimes if you have a really unhealthy system, your cycle, your shedding cycle is a lot more intense, and your immune system is a lot more intensely, undergoing a sickness and illness. What's more of a cleaning out. I think that everything we know as sicknesses, we're just being sold untruths through the pharmaceutical industry, through the medical industry. I don't think that we understand how our bodies work. I don't think we understand much of anything about how this place works. I think that
there was more understanding with holistics and early medicines as far as natural remedies that I believe than what they're doing today. Because if you look at what if you go visit a doctor, they're doing the same exam that they did in like 1920. They check your reflexes, check your ears. Now if they do blood work, you get I think it's like a 4-panel, just simple blood work. They're not into it to find out what's wrong and heal you, because it's not healthcare, it's sick care. And
right, that's a great point.
And well, I heard that on Joe Rogan, this ex-pharmaceutical executive, I think he was an executive, was on there talking about this very thing, and how the insurance companies, how they're screwing everybody, and they want you to pay your deductible, so then you're paying that 20% of your insurance premiums or whatever they are, because they get everything on a discount anyways. Everything is 100+%. Now I've just lost the word, that a profit. With what they're doing. So it's sick care. It has nothing to do with health or keeping you healthy, or I just went and seen a cardiologist a couple months ago, and they didn't even say anything about what's your diet like, or you exercise, nothing about that.
They never do. They don't care about that.
They don't.
Yeah, they just want to give you pills.
You get 7 minutes on average with your doctor.
Oh wow.
That's it. You're in and out. They tap your knees and hand you prescriptions.
Right.
And then people become slaves to the pharmaceutical company, going back to cancers and these major diseases.
Right.
If you look at COVID and how people went in, that would go in, you'd hear these stories over and over of these people who went into the hospital. They were seemingly fine with just mild symptoms, and boom, they had them on ventilators, and then they were dead. Because they were putting
ventilators
on the ventilator, because you have to be dead to be on a ventilator. You're only on a ventilator to stay alive, and a ventilator is to keep them organs alive. Right? Because you can only harvest live organs. You cannot harvest from a dead body.
And
So
the organ transplantation and donation racket is wild.
it is, and it's
wild.
crazy to talk about. I had seen where a friend of mine, their nephew had been killed, and said, he was like 16 or so, and he was an organ donor, and part of me wanted to be like, organ donation, don't have that on your fucking license, because people don't understand, you have to be alive, whether it's brain dead or whatever. Your body has to be alive when they remove those things. And we could get into what they do over there in China, the CCP with the Falun Gong, and other prisoners of
They're saying that
conscience.
like the Uyghurs
Uyghurs,
people,
yes.
have been, they've part of the story, the accusation is this type of organ harvesting, people making people be born just to one day harvest their organs, which is just wow.
Yeah, and the Falun Dafa, the Falun Gong, they are the most harvested because they're the most healthy. They, with their exercise and the way they live, and they don't. It's not even a religion or anything. Mitchell Gerber, I believe his name is. He does real good work on bringing light to the Falun Gong and what they're going through. Because I can't say enough about that documentary on Amazon, Human Harvest. Which just the fact that it's on Amazon is you got to question that itself.
Right.
It's something
Netflix
showing the
and
horror
all that stuff.
it's showing the horror of the CCP, and it's on Amazon. What's going on here? I mean, Amazon and China and all these big conglomerates are pretty hand in hand. But again, I mean, they got to tell you things and let you know things, to clear their conscience of what they're doing. The vaccine, the COVID thing. Yeah, we go through these cycles, these 6 cycles, where we all seem to shit. I mean, in the winter, we get less sunlight right there. The vitamin D absorption is less right there.
Immediately.
So you're gonna have these issues and the shedding, and they're also gaslighting and reversing and changing these wordings and definitions of these things.
Sure. This year we're supposed to have a trifecta of cold, flu, and COVID.
Yeah. They said that last year. We're going to go to break real quick, and we'll be right back with more with Human Vibration.
Hey, it's Aaron from the Cole Report, and I just want to remind you, if you miss any of the live shows, you can catch the rebroadcast all week long. There's a schedule on the homepage. Click it and it'll show you everything going on for the whole week. And if that's not convenient enough for you, you can catch the Shepard and Bella Show, the Rained Out RantCast, and the Cole Report on Apple and Spotify for your listening pleasure.
Is your car or truck experiencing ED? That's right, engine dysfunction. Has your drive life become a disappointment? Perhaps you're losing performance, or your pedal is feeling a little sluggish or soft. Maybe you're not able to go as long or as far as you used to. If this sounds familiar, then you need this little purple pill. The Gobi Fuel Boosting Tablet could enhance your performance and give you back your drive life, helping you to go longer and faster and increase acceleration, and helping you enjoy a nice, smooth ride. We are still talking about driving, right? Gobi Fuel Tablets could not only save you money at the pump, but when you share the power of this pill and help others improve their drive life, you can earn money, lots of money. So don't let ED ruin your drive life. Get Gobi Fuel Boosting Tablets today.
Visit GoGasTab.com.
ATN.Live, the Umbrellas Talk Network is beyond news talk. It's cutting-edge talk, 24/7 365. Real people, real life conversation. ATN.Live is also home to the Shepard and Bella's show and other great shows. The website is simple to use, and the sound quality is phenomenal. We stream in 194K audio and have a backup 64K stream for folks who don't have much internet bandwidth. Remember, don't forget, go to ATN.Live now. And for those who pledge $50 or more, you will receive free merchandise from Shepard and Bella's. His 2 films on DVD video and his latest electronic beats album, so show some love. ATN.Live, the Umbrellas Talk Network, ATN.Live.
And we're back on RantCast Live on ATN.Live with Human Vibration. Call lines are open at 205-843-7437. Before the break, we were talking about vaccines, COVID, how human illness basically is a cycle, something that it's kind of like how, I mean, I don't know if this is 100% true because I'm not a woman, right? But how women sync up. I don't know if that's true. I guess you would know more than that. I would.
They say. So they say.
Yeah, I mean, it would be kind of the same idea. Someone's sick, and you're not getting sick. It's just your body syncing up and saying, "Oh, well, it's time to shed these things."
Right.
Yeah, and the COVID with the psychological, it's been nothing but a crazy psyop. They parts of Australia this week just reinstated their emergency acts. Yet Joe Biden tell you that the pandemic's over, and now he's extending the emergency whatever they are, the emergency orders or whatever the fuck they're using. Yeah. Whatever they're using.
Right.
Which at one point they had told us that they had suspended the Hippocratic oath, basically the Hippocratic oath.
Right.
They had suspended those privacy things when it came to COVID. They told us that right on TV with Trump's briefings.
We were given a lot of really weird information back. I mean, the whole Operation Warp Speed, that was Trump's spearheading. The whole bringing to market of this vaccine, I felt like was done in such a strange way. The fastest one ever created. We were supposed to believe that this technology just was rocketed into reality. And when the previously, fastest one took 4 years or so to be developed into market. And I kind of think all vaccines have always been a form of medical theater to where we participate and buy in. But yeah, these mandates and things, the mandates are really interesting because there were instances where people were kind of losing their lives or livelihoods. I'm sorry, like nurses refusing to get the vaccine did appear at some point to be at risk of losing their job. But when that did happen, it always seemed to have a remedy later down the road. They would always get their job back. There always seemed to be a correction there. The threat again wasn't proved out to be not as dire as seemed to be. Just like the threat of the virus itself and the threat of not participating was more of a social.
Well, I mean,
experiment.
right at the beginning, they brought in those 2 boats that nobody ever was on.
Those
and
boats,
then,
yes.
Which a crazy thing that happened in California, which I don't know if people remember this, was a guy ran a fucking train off the train tracks, attempting to hit the boat. Like the dumbest.
What a wild story. Yeah, he jumped the tracks. He jumped the train off the tracks in the Navy Yard or whatever.
Yeah, and the distance from the end of the tracks to the boat is and then you have to jump off the dock basically to even hit the boat. It's like, what the fuck? And then the dude gets out of the
because there's supposed to be children on, horribly deformed children on board.
And then they when he jumps out of the train, he's screaming conspiracies. And I thought that was going to be way bigger and blown up, because it was a crazy loony guy stole the train, or it was an actual conductor. I don't think he even stole the train, and drives it off the edge of the train tracks, trying to take out the craziest fucking story you could come up with. And the visual was like, this dude was totally fucking retarded. I mean. The whole situation.
That's fucking retarded.
It was pretty bad. I figured that was going to really play in the news for a while to really stick it, and really push the conspiracy thing. But it was just kind of in and out of there. And I don't know if a lot of people remember that one, but
you're right. It was so bizarre.
And then all the hospitals set up for these people to come in, much like 9/11 was set up for mass trauma to come into these hospitals, and nobody showed up.
Ever showed
and
up.
It's the same with
so
COVID.
glad you brought that up.
It's the same. It's just the same MO bullshit because they can't
We've seen the
create
playbook.
anything better.
We recognize now that what we're watching is plays from the playbook, and these things repeat, and they become, once you're aware of the pattern, it becomes almost comical. It becomes not alarming or scary anymore. It just becomes comical. Oh, it's like, oh, this is what they always do. And the fact that Fauci was the AIDS guy as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're using the same players. I mean, look at Biden. Biden's been in the fucking, politics for like
It's the 60s.
multiple generations now, like 3 generations of people. These people they're the same.
Oh my gosh,
fucking
and Beau
people.
Biden dies in different ways. It seems every day. Like recently, he said
was
that
in
Beau Biden died
in Iraq.
In Iraq.
Yeah.
I'm not
the
laughing
shit
at the
he's
dead. I'm
making
laughing
up
at the,
now is he said his grandpa was an All-American football player, and then God, I can't. The last thing he made
every
up.
day it's something. Every day it's something.
Yeah, every day he's making up something new, whether it be about his kid and I think it's these body
Ladies that
doubles
are
and
dead
shit
or
keep
long
forgetting.
deceased.
These
He's like, "Where's Barbara?
yeah,
Where's Barbara?" It's like,
Julia,
Barbara's been dead.
Julia,
Or whatever. Yeah.
where you at, Julia? No, I guess she's not here. And then his press secretary or whatever her name is to sit up there and gaslight the fuck out of everybody with she was just on top of mind. When you go back to that thing of him calling, she was just on top of mind.
Right.
She was just on top of mind, guys. That's it. That's all it was. He knew, the family was there, and it's like, I mean, he was looking for her, and
pretending she was.
we
still
seen it
alive.
on
Yeah, that makes
TV,
sense.
man. We seen it right there. We seen exactly what he did. No, it was just top of mind. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The gaslighting is the fuel they have for gaslighting. It's on sale for sure. It's not. The price isn't fucking inflated because it's been one big gaslight when it comes to the COVID thing. It's almost 3 years now of this.
Right.
3 years of this, and it's they now just keep rerunning the same shit. Like you were talking earlier about the trifecta coming in of flu and COVID and AIDS or something. All coming together.
They tried monkeypox on us, and we said no, thank you.
Yeah, and then the AIDS thing, you see how some states were paying people to get AIDS tests, and like Prince Harry was pushing AIDS test. He's supposed to be in a monogamous he's supposed to be in a monogamous relationship, right, with his wife, and he's pushing get an AIDS test. What the fuck is going on?
That's a responsible thing for someone who's not using intravenous drugs or having multiple homosexual partners without safe sex.
But right off the bat on COVID, we seen right away that it had, they were talking, it had this molecule or protein that was connected to HIV. That's why it was being able to connect the way it was. And
HIV is still a nebulous, unidentified virus. It's still yet to be isolated. It's crazy. And it's also just a coagulation of symptoms.
Yeah.
And then they put a bunch of pills on it, and then people die. It's kind of like cancer, which is a coagulation of symptoms. And
back to what they were doing with COVID, with the remdesivir and with the putting people on
the ventilators.
The ventilators, they're fucking killing people that way. With cancers, they're filling you full of radiation. I mean, literally, like chemo's like running radiation through your fucking veins. Like, how the fuck? How the fuck is this
poison through your veins?
Yeah, I mean, and there's never in modern medicine, there's no speaking of a diet
doing
or
things a little bit better,
and
right? Doc, so if I try things different, if I if I just eat better, and the doctor's like, nope, that's not gonna help.
What if I drink alkaline water? You're fucking crazy. Don't do that.
What
if I fast
stop
and
drinking? For many people, it's like, what if I stop drinking a bottle of wine every night and calling it mommy juice? Like so much of our society is like, is that gonna help me not develop, toxic cells in my body are like a clusters of abnormal growths, make my body go
and
into
you have
overtime,
these generations now that are filled with the fast food generation basically,
Yeah.
and then you
We've chosen
introduce
a lot
these
of our poisons.
vaccines.
Yeah, we've chosen all of our
Yes,
poisons.
blindly. And then
Yeah.
they come out, you know, how many years ago was it where they, like, let's take food products, for instance, and how they came out and they said, oh, everything has got to be labeled. The ingredients have to be labeled. And they're able to get
Right.
away with putting shit in there by just putting natural flavoring.
Right.
You know, they're like, it's natural
yeah.
flavoring. So, like, oh, it's beaver anus? Oh, okay. Yeah, all right.
Right.
You know, it's natural flavoring. So it's,
Yeah.
we don't have
If
to
it comes in a
label
box,
beaver
guys, it's not
anus,
natural,
Yeah.
I like to eat things. I like to eat food. Like, I like to eat broccoli. Broccoli is broccoli. I know what it is. I don't have to look at the ingredients to this head of broccoli. I got it. I got the memo. I know what it is, It's interesting, like, when your food gets farther and farther and farther away from what it actually is, like beans are beans, broccoli is broccoli. And those are a dish, It's like, it doesn't have to be like in something. I think that we've gotten into a trap too. This is kind of a tangent, but it's gotten me thinking about the amalgamations of food that we pass off for like faux meats. For it to look and taste and feel like a real burger, that thing is pumped so full of shit you do not want in your body, just so you can get this slight thrill of being close to what a burger tastes like.
Yeah,
or
and
a
they
hot
put
dog
stuff
or
in
whatever.
it that is like drugs. I mean, sugar is like, they compare it to cocaine.
I think sugar is a real bad apple.
And
I think sugar causes so much that we don't realize in society.
Well, look at
That does not
Kevin
say for humans.
Smith. I don't know if you know Kevin Smith, the director. He had his heart attack. He was supposed to do 2 specials. He was taping he was taping a special. He was supposed to do 2 sets for the special. He did 1 set, ended up feeling sick. He was having a heart attack, and luckily, well, the thing is he had already changed and was vegetarian and had stopped eating, overeating, and was getting healthy. He had even gotten rid of the chairs at his desk and had a ball, a balance ball.
Yeah, he was making progress. Yep.
But he ate sweets like none other, and that's what got him, was the sweets.
Right.
It's back, was it in the 60s when the sugar, big sugar, if you will, and paid off the scientists, the lab coats, to say that it's fats. It's
Yes, to blame the fats, and that's
Yeah.
when everything became healthy.
Yeah.
I grew up in a household where the healthy food in our pantry was quote unquote fat free, was Snackwells. I thought that was healthy. I did not grow up with a good handle on what truly was. It wasn't until I was an adult, really, late into in my 30s, really, until I got a much, much, much better handle on what real food is and what we need and what we don't need.
Well,
And I'm
look
not
at the
saying I eat perfect and healthy
psychological
all
of
the
that
time, but
when the fat free, and when they would come out with the diet,
twisted,
the diet this and sugar free that, and then it turns out that the shit they're putting in for that to replace the sugar is worse than the
extreme
fucking sugar.
everything too, right?
It's,
All the aspartame,
yeah.
aspartame, and Splenda, and all the extremes are bad. I mean, just thinking about the Atkins diet too. That was low sugar, so it kind of theoretically solved for that in a way, but it was so extreme and limiting on what you could eat, and people were just like going into choking themselves with cholesterol because all they were doing was eating. Just all they were eating was meat. I think that there were so many different instead of ever finding balance and instead of ever finding what works for you, and I think everybody's system works differently. I think that we should be encouraged more to find out what works for us, what makes us feel good. Some things make us feel good, and some things don't make us feel good, and we should have a better attuned system to that. And I think we've kind of lost that ability to know how we even react to the things we put into our body and our minds. I like to say garbage in, garbage out, and that's not just for what we put into our bodies; it's for what we take in with the media and stuff. But I eat relatively healthy. I still, I wonder, should I be drinking coffee in the morning? I have 1 cup. I allow myself 1 cup, but is that caffeine? There are people that are really anti-caffeine, and is there something I'm losing?
I just seen a study that said that these coffee, because I don't drink coffee. I don't drink much caffeine, and
for you.
But coffee drinkers seem to live longer. And then when I think about it, the old man and his buddies, they're sitting down there at the coffee shop, Missouri you can still smoke indoors in some places, and they'll be sitting
Really?
there
Wow.
fucking smoking, drinking their coffee, and they've been doing that for fucking 50, 60 years,
Right.
like.
Do you think it's more of the social thing and how that social, the social aspect is supposed to be really good for longevity? The blue zones are really known
Yeah,
for
I
their
guess,
social
yeah,
constructs and
yeah.
stuff.
That makes sense
Who
too.
knows? Yeah, there are those like 100-year-olds that drink whiskey every day and eat bacon, as their main food source. And so there's anomalies in every set. But I do think that we are tricked in society. There's a reason that every child eats sugary cereal. Society is tricking us into thinking that we need to start our day with a whole bowl of sugar. And that sets us up for addictive mindsets and bad behavior and crash. Just on the daily basis, like sets us up for a crash, but on a lifetime basis sets us up for like a need for this dopamine sugar hit. And then you're just sugar seeking in so many ways and you don't even realize it. It takes up a lot of RAM, I think, in our brain, these seeking behaviors. And because they're not like full-blown addictions that like put us in a rehab or something, we would never even be ever open to questioning all the time and energy and attention we throw towards these things that actually don't serve us whatsoever. Like people that eat like 6 snacks every day, there's a lot of thinking and planning around those snacks. Think of how much time and energy that is. And I'm not being flippant about it. I'm being serious. It's a lot of time spent about consumption, and usually it's not even good food. Usually it's these like protein bars and fillers, these filler foods and stuff. And it's like, this can't be right. Oh. And I read recently that the act of chewing takes up 20% of our energetic output in a day. 20%.
20%.
Is humongous. It's a really highly inefficient process.
I thought you were going to say you've read a study chewing causes heart attacks.
No, but maybe all that excess energy, maybe if we were saving 20% of our energy, we would have less heart attacks.
I mean,
maybe it's not the food that you're shoving down your mouth. It's just the fact that you're chewing it that puts you into a heart attack position sometimes.
Because we're seeing that now. I mean, where they're telling us video games cause heart attacks, cause your kids to have heart attacks, and everything except the old jib jab fucking causes heart attacks now.
Yeah.
Everything.
I don't think we have enough time for that conversation. That's a whole other can of worms for sure. But I do think that, gosh, our lifestyles right now and everything we're putting into our bodies, a vaccine,
exasperates it.
Everything. We should not be testing our immune system in this way.
No.
It's unnecessary, no matter how you slice it. It's unnecessary, and we shouldn't be compromising our immune. Anytime we test our immune system, we put ourselves up for a bad reaction, especially if you're unhealthy.
Yeah,
the
and the
come from within.
The population. I mean, there's studies showing just before COVID and all that, the population is the masses vitamin D deficient. Males are deficient in testosterone. All the hormones are imbalanced and fucked up. I mean, our environment. I mean, Monsanto had to come out with seeds that were aluminum resistant.
Wow.
From what's being sprayed in the air,
That's
which is stratospheric aerosol
about
injections.
Seeds. How there are no independent farmer. It's illegal. It's illegal actually to be a farmer and not use to use your own seeds.
To use generational seeds is illegal. Yes.
Yep. And if you get caught, everything can be pulled out from under you, include all you can lose your insurance. You can actually lose your land.
Yes, and then they pull the bullshit where trucks are going by and some seed blows off the truck into your property, and then they come and sue you. It's fucking crazy. And the fact that they had to create aluminum resistant seeds, that just proves that something's being sprayed in the air, that is raining down and toxifying the soil even further. Whether it be, I guess their exhaust gas. I mean, the climate change whole thing. That's another whole can of worms, because that's where we're moving now is into
of
what
we understand as weather and climate and all that stuff.
Yeah, and just the term climate change. It's
right.
like,
They can't even say global warming anymore.
Climate
or global
change.
cooling.
I mean, yeah, it changes all the time, man. It definitely
Every
changes.
10 years, we have 12 years left. You know what I mean?
Yes. Every 10 years we got 12 years left. And now the videos have come out of like that Greta whatever her name is, which she's probably not real. That's more deep fake bullshit.
Right. I think so.
That's like Edward Snowden. I always go back to that example of Edward Snowden. You've only seen Edward Snowden ever on a TV screen. Even when he was on Joe Rogan, he had to be on.
Right.
He had to call
and
in.
he has that look. He's got that uncanny valley thing.
Yep.
He does not look
Movies made about
super,
him, and it was just used
looks a little
to
soft.
tell us what we already knew. That they're fucking just listening to everything. That that every device is listening. If it connects to the internet, it's listening. They're keeping a catalog. You know
He was basically telling us everything we're doing, everything we give to the machine. There's a record.
Yes,
Which absolutely could be true. It reminds me of the Akashic records.
Well, I mean, look at what they're doing with LifeLog. Peter Thiel was doing with LifeLog.
The day LifeLog closed, Facebook starts. It's
February
so funny.
4th, 2004.
I know, isn't that so funny?
And then Peter Thiel gave Mark Zuckerberg, which he failed to mention on Joe Rogan. Peter Thiel gave Mark Zuckerberg $800,000 in August of 2004. So
very strange.
Yeah.
All the birds of a feather flock together for sure.
yeah, they're all in the one big club, and none of us are, none of us are allowed in their stupid fucking club. And
no, thank you.
It's more and more. I think someone sent me links to some rapper chick had a party. She had a Eyes Wide Shut themed party, even with a cake with the 27 with the Masonic square and compass on it. With
oh boy, yeah, really leaning into all the symbology.
Yeah, I mean, we were
and people have those. Those are people genuinely want to. It's a cosplay, but people like to act as if they're adjacent to the occult.
Yeah, I mean, like they're in the club.
Yeah.
I mean, are they in the club? I don't fucking know. But people at her party, there's probably definitely people in their baby blood drinking club, right?
Well, I have a theory on adrenochrome. I think that's just a red herring. I don't think whoever the great commanders, the puppeteers that be, the powers that be above that we can't see, the hidden hand essentially, they don't need this adrenalized blood outside of our bodies. They need it just pumping through our veins. They just need to keep us locked in fear. And the mere fact that we as human beings basically seem to operate on cortisol these days, these constant stress hormones, these constant pumping of fear, anxiety, despair, all these things that seems to be like the COVID starter pack. I think that that's ultimately what is the juiciest prize, is the fact that we are always pumping this precious material through our veins all day, every day. And by doing so, we're essentially prisoners of fear. I think that I used to believe in adrenochrome and babies' bloods were being, sucked by the evil Democrats and the cabal. But then I realized I think they just want that to be projected in our heads, this gross projections. And I think that if that does, it almost like Picasso says, anything you can imagine is real. I think that it sullies the mind. It kind of poisons the well if they can have us imagine gross things and believe them to be real. It's just like war. Imagine have us see horrific death and believe it to be real.
Yeah, they even came out, when they're saying, "Oh, it's conspiracy." They even come out. Newsweek comes out with a cover saying, "Is Youngblood the new fountain of youth?" And then,
right. Speaking of Peter Thiel, with the whole Youngblood thing, he was one of the spearheads of these.
Ambrosia,
blood.
I think.
Ambrosia. Yes. Oh, here's a fun
gods.
fact. Jeffrey Dahmer, you know how he's in the zeitgeist at the moment. So Jeffrey Dahmer was known for having a predilection for black men. That was his kink. That was his victims were black men. So also concurrently, he was working at a chocolate factory. That was his day job. He was working at a chocolate factory called Ambrosia. Isn't that funny?
It's weird. And yes, Elon Musk has his own candy chocolate factory, the Boring Company. He's the Willy
we're back to
Wonka.
that. Oh, this
Yeah,
is
we like to do callbacks.
What a fun full circle. Oh my god.
Yeah, if you let everybody know where they can find you again. And it was a good conversation.
Yes.
It was a
this
fun
was great.
talk.
Thank you so much for having me on. Oh my goodness, this was great. Thank you for this chat. Human Vibration, Twitter at Human Vibration, one word. Instagram, which I'm more active on these days. Human Vibration _ Insta, and then Real Eyes Radio, Spotify, Apple, Podbean, all those fun things. And then we have like a good amount of episodes there that you can listen to if you like it. We've got more ongoing recordings on Patreon at Realize Radio on Patreon.
Hell yeah. Check those things out, guys. If you're listening on ATN, remember to hit that pledge button, help the network out, and go to RantCast.com. This episode will be available tomorrow morning, and help the show out. Go to buymeacoffee.com/RantCast. Again, thank you, Human Vibration, for coming on. I enjoyed this. It was fun.
Me too. Thank you, Chris. It was wonderful. Great convo and jumping around to all sorts of topics, but they all have a thread. They have a through line. So
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
You have a good night.
You too.
Nationwide gas prices have reached an all-time record high, and there's a lot of us that are feeling the squeeze. We can help alleviate those pains at the pump through a revolutionary 5th-generation Nobel Prize fuel catalyst, now available to the public. Boost by Govee increases miles per gallon by an average of 20%, allowing you to go further, lessening how many times you need to fuel up. That's money in the bank. Just pop this little purple pill into your tank and get big gas savings. Professional truck drivers can also experience massive savings because it can also be used in diesel engines and decreases the amount of diesel exhaust fluid that's required. This unparalleled purple pill also increases octane levels by 5 points, which allows regular fuel to act like premium and is safe with over 650 million miles tested without damaging a single vehicle. It's time to free up your budget and increase your bottom line today. Visit GoGasTab.com. That's GoGasTab.com.
We hope you enjoy what you hear on Ambella's Talk Network and want to remind you to check the full schedule for live broadcast showtimes. The Shepherd Ambella Show broadcasts on weekdays, Monday through Friday, at Eastern Time, M Central. Also, don't forget to catch the live broadcast of the Cole Report, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Central. Then on every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, listen to Rained Out RantCast on ATN.Live. Also, remember, don't forget to click the pink button in the upper right corner and make a pledge. Anyone who pledges support of $50 or more will receive 2 of Shep's documentary film DVD videos, and his latest electronic beats album titled Gangstalker 2.0. All shows are rebroadcast and looped daily until the next live show. ATN.Live, the Ambellas Talk Network. ATN.Live.
ATN. ATN.